Well, here we are once again. Good evening, folks. Mobile Keys are here. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. If you're new here, we do this every Friday. We go over some of the tech articles that I find that might be interesting to us between last Friday and this Friday. And Will is here. Wow, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Will Google, he's asking what happened to Google I/O. Google I/O was very different this year, and boy, were they pushing AI. So, yeah, it was very, very different. Brian was the first one in here. He was here like at 20 after 7. Will, you've got the link. Come on in for a change. Say hello. At least I wish you would. Yeah, I watched the Google I/O event, and it was over. Oh, here's Elna. Good. Hey, Elna, glad you're here. You came here right after Will. So I guess it's a lucky day to even have Will in here. I'm asking him to join in. We'll see if he does, if he has the time. Anyway, glad you're here. Brian's here. Elno's here. Will, I think, is here. So we'll see if he comes on. Yeah, so after I watched the event, about an hour later, Ted and I were typing back and forth on Telegram, and Will said, Will got in, and he said, did I miss Google I/O? And I said, yeah, it's over. So it was very different. All they did was talk about the AI for like an hour and a half. So they're very, very, very pumped up about it. And then they had a developer presentation. I watched most of that too. And that was, I guess it was the same day, but they didn't broadcast that one live. So I ended up watching that the next day. So it was a very different Google I/O. So if you're new here, please type in something in the comments so we know you're here. The rest of you regulars, well, you know what we're going to do. But for the new people, I'm going to show you we can follow along in the show notes on my website. So I'm going to share screen here. If you want to follow along in the show notes, you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. Just click on today's date. That'll pull up just tonight's show notes for tonight's stories. And as usual, while I'm here, I'll give you a little preview of what we're going to go over tonight. So, iOS 17.5, I said, may include a disturbing photos bug. So if you haven't upgraded to iOS 17.5 yet, mine is sitting there, and I didn't bring it in yet because of this story. But you'll see what I mean. Second story, Eleanor told her she'd be glad about this. This author or this writer thinks TikTok is not going anywhere, at least in the U.S. So that's on Phone Arena. Oh, the first one was on Times Guide. So this one's on Phone Arena. We'll go over that. And then OpenAI and Reddit have an agreement, and Reddit's going to have ChatGPT incorporated into it. And of course, they'll be giving data to OpenAI, which is what they want for their large language model. And Don's in here. Hey, Don, glad to have you here. Just going over the stories we're going to talk about tonight. And Don's in here from Texas. Then we're going to go. I found another article on Times Guide, 7 new features coming in Android 15. So I thought that would be interesting to go over. And then it's Apple's turn. They also have a deal with OpenAI. So we're going to take a look at that deal. That's on Phone Arena. And I found this article on something called Pune Pulse. I've never been on that site before, but Google and others locking authors out of their own content on Google Docs. So I just thought that was an interesting story. And not a very good one for the writers. And these are writers of books. So interesting stuff here. And usually that's where I stop with the articles, but I had to throw this one in. We'll go over this at the end. But if you remember, I started last week's with the Crush commercial that Apple was going to put on TV, but they didn't. And they took it off YouTube and they apologized for it. Well, Samsung couldn't resist a little bit of an answer to it. So it'll just be a minute or so, but I just wanted to show you Samsung's. And you know how Samsung likes to answer Apple stuff. So that's what we're going to go over tonight. So let me stop screen. All right, so we've got Brian. I think we may or may not have Will in here. Eleanor's here, and Don is here. Anybody else wants to say hello, please feel free. If you're new here, put something in and let us know where you're from. Other than that, I guess if I can't talk Will into coming in, I guess I'll start with the stories for tonight. So back to sharing screen. And I said iOS 17.5 may include a disturbing photos bug. And they're trying to get us to all install 17.5. But when I saw the story, I'm like, well, maybe I'll hold off. So this is on Tom's Guide. Let's take a look. iOS 17.5 has concerning new bug that's undeleting photos, what you need to know. And that's by Scott Yonker. This was published yesterday. Multiple Reddit users report finding old photos, some from years ago. So let's drop this into Reader View and get rid of some of these ads. Apple introduced iOS 17.5 this week with exhortations to update iPhones as soon as possible. And like I said, since I saw the story, I held off. Mine's sitting there waiting. The latest iOS update was meant to fix a number of security vulnerabilities, but it appears to have introduced a new bug. So this bug wasn't there until you upgrade to 17.5. The troubling new bug, as reported by Mac Rumors, apparently resurfaces supposedly, that's the key word here, deleted photos in some cases from previous years in photo libraries. A number of Reddit users have reported this bug across various Apple-based subreddits. One user claimed they sold a wiped iPad to a friend, and after the 17.5 update, their old pictures were appearing in the Photos app. I see other reports of this. How many people will get other people's photos on the devices they bought from other people, they asked. That user said they followed Apple's guide for wiping devices and did not log in on the device afterwards. So he had every expectation that when he sold it to his friend, his stuff was gone, but photos were coming back. Complaints surfaced on Reddit. Other users have chimed in with similar experiences. Sourced 15 duplicates and saw a few recent pics, but dated ages back and are not even relevant. They are just random pics I must have deleted a long time ago. Oh dear, said one Redditor. Another replied a photo which was absolute, not meant to ever reach the surface again, or ever again, deleted 2 years ago, pops up as a new photo on my camera roll. So I'm glad he caught it and not somebody else, I guess, he or she. Some helpful Redditors are reminding that digital things never really get fully deleted unless the files are actually overwritten, and that's very true. Until you overwrite that same area of data, it's always there. It's not entirely clear why the 17.5 update is introducing this specific bug, or if it's related to the security flaws that the update was meant to fix. Yeah, and it's something coming up that I think might be the problem here. If it was just recently deleted images, this might make sense as a kind of reset in the system. The Photos app keeps deleted media in a recently deleted album for 30 days in case someone wants to recover. But it's not just recently deleted stuff. What's behind the bug? Mac Rumors speculates that it may be an attempt to fix a photo syncing bug from the 17.3 update. So I'm thinking that's where it came from. It could be related to iCloud and what is kept or deleted there, or a syncing issue between the devices and the iCloud. Reviewing the fixes that Apple says were released for 17.5, nothing mentions any photo apps or cameras. Those sync services received the fix and screenshot tools as well. So that could be where it is. Perhaps something in that area. Apple has not responded. Now, of course, this was yesterday. Responded in any feeds or posts about the issues. We'll see if it becomes an ongoing problem or if Apple will release a hot fix in the coming days. So since today I had my iPhone with me at work in my OnePlus 12, so since my No Mine is sitting there, probably sometime tonight, I will update mine, and probably if I remember, I'll let you guys know next week if I'm seeing any old photos. But I just thought it'd be good to start with that one, let people know just in case you're about to update to iOS 17.5. So, and no Will as yet. So I'm guessing Will doesn't have time to join us. So, on to the next story. And nothing new in the comments. TikTok. U.S. TikTok not going anywhere, so says this writer. And I found this on Phone Arena. So let's go over there. Eleanor should like this. She's always saying that they shouldn't be taking it away. And I agree with her. Okay, why TikTok? Oh, this was from yesterday. No, not yesterday. This is from May 12th. And it's published, written by Martin Filippov, who writes a lot of Phone Arena articles. Why TikTok is never leaving the U.S. and how the Chinese app changed the world forever. So let's go into read a few. In 2020, President Trump issued an executive order aiming to ban TikTok in the U.S. due to concerns that the Chinese-owned app posed a threat to national security related to TikTok's access to user data. And they do use a lot of, pull a lot of user data, but so does all the ones in America. So what's the difference? The executive order didn't go through, and TikTok continued to operate in the U.S. until now. The impending TikTok ban has been signed, sealed, and delivered by President Biden, and ByteDance, company that owns TikTok, has now been given 9 months to sell the most popular app in the world if it wants to keep operating in the U.S. I don't think it's going to be taken away. ByteDance and TikTok's president in the U.S., TikTok CEO in the U.S., is fighting it in Congress. So and in court, and I'm guessing they're going to end up winning. Unsurprisingly, TikTok CEO Shou Chu responded saying TikTok is not for sale and vouched, I guess they meant vowed, to fight against the bill that aims to remove TikTok from iPhone and Android phones in the United States. And they are fighting back in court. Politics aside, the thing is that I don't think the essence of TikTok will ever leave the U.S. So this is his opinion, or at least not in the near future, and certainly not in the next 9 months. That being said, if when TikToking eventually becomes uncool like Facebook did, what will be the next big thing for social media? So now he changes and basically goes over why TikTok is number one. How TikTok changed social media and the world forever, creating opportunities, eliminating gatekeepers, and making people even more addicted to their phones. No, Hollywood, no problem. TikTok gave a platform to next-gen celebrities like Matt Rife, made him a star, one of the hottest stand-up comedians right now. TikTok isn't good for you, but the algorithm can be good to you. Although short-form videos aren't a new phenomenon, TikTok revolutionized social media with two key moves: a mysterious content discovery algorithm, which has proven to be one of TikTok's biggest assets, a focus on enabling users to build and maintain creator-fan relationships. And I gather they do that very well. When it comes to TikTok's infamous algorithm, although no one really knows exactly how it operates, that's true, everyone knows that it's been responsible for the endless scrolling we do on the app. But there's a good side to the algorithm, one fewer people take advantage of, and that's the creator's advantage. By coincidence or not, the world of entertainment was already headed towards a future without TV. That's true. Me, like, I'm an old person, but like most young people, I almost never watch TV. I pretty much watch Formula One races, IndyCar races, and maybe some bicycling from France, and that's pretty much about it. And TikTok happened to arrive at the right moment, enabling creators from various areas of entertainment to find a sometimes unpredictable but incredibly disruptive platform to share their thing with the world. Most of the TikTok made celebrities might be dancers. I don't know if that's true or not. But one that stands out to me is comedian Matt Rife, I guess it's Rife, who rode the TikTok wave like no other after a viral short clip changed his life overnight. Once again, that's him. So he got famous because of TikTok. Riding on the TikTok wave, rock star status comedian Matt Rife sold out a world tour, crashed Ticketmaster, yes, just like Taylor Swift, and will soon become the youngest comedian to perform at the Hollywood Bowl. So TikTok can make you famous. Examples like Matt Rife are proof that TikTok isn't just a fun app for dance and cooking videos, but a cracked door without established gatekeepers in the world of entertainment looking at you, Hollywood. So in other words, there's no middleman between you like there is in Hollywood. With TikTok, you don't need a director, producer, and distributor. You are the director, producer, and distributor. That is, if you're consistent at posting and if the infamous algorithm shows you some love. Is TikTok addictive? The real question is how addictive it is. Now, this is showing average time spent on TikTok for the last 5 years, and you can see it's going up and up, and it goes up every single year. So in 2019, 27.4 minutes. Now it's 58.4. So just barely more than doubled in 5 years. So, however, like anything else, TikTok has its dark side, and without a shadow of doubt, this would be the app's addictive nature. Sure, all social media apps are addictive, but the same mysterious algorithm that can change a creator's life overnight can also hook people on the other side of the TikTok like a real drug. I don't have TikTok, neither do I actually, but I get TikToks that Eleanor sends me. Rest assured, I find other ways to waste time. But I can see TikTok's addictive nature through someone like my teenage cousin who never seems to be not on TikTok. As he's scrolling, I'd keep overhearing the most random things sounding off from his phone speakers. And to prove my questionable professionalism, I can also tell you that according to research, the average person in the U.S. seems to spend nearly 1 hour on TikTok as of this year. That's twice as long compared to 2019, which I showed you in the graph. To check how much time you spend on TikTok or any other app, open your iPhone, Android battery settings, and check which apps are eating up your screen time. The U.S. can ban TikTok, but TikTok's identity will live on through Instagram and YouTube. See, TikTok exploded onto the social media scene in no time, soon becoming the most popular app in the world. Post the COVID pandemic, when people had a lot of free time on their hands to create and consume TikTok videos. But some of you might remember that before TikTok, there was Vine. That's right, Vine wasn't around long. A similar short-form video platform that attracted a young audience and mostly young creators. but Vine is dead, and Elon Musk probably isn't too thrilled about it. Vine was on Twitter. Still, TikTok's influence and operation model quickly extended beyond the app itself as other social media platforms directly copied TikTok's operation, business, and algorithm model for their own apps. Instagram and YouTube, both of them copied, that's true, TikTok right away. That's where YouTube Shorts came from. Hence, rest assured that even if TikTok were to be forced out of the US, where 5% of its global user base comes from, the essence of TikTok isn't leaving the United States just yet. It will continue to exist through the likes of Instagram Reels and TikTok Shorts. US-based TikTok creators make up an important part of TikTok's creator block, and they'd have to find another way to connect with millions of their followers. And that's what Eleanor's always saying. These people are running business off of there, and that's true. Naturally, Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts will be the obvious new destinations for their short-form content. And so the U.S. government's goal would be achieved, keep American user data in America. Yeah, but, Google and Apple, they all collect just as much onus. So I don't see the big difference. Are super apps the next big thing after TikTok? And will Elon Musk resurrect the essence of Vine as part of X? That wouldn't surprise me. He wants it to be the everything app, so I guess it would have to have some kind of video app. Facebook might be the closest thing to a super app available in the US, but it pales in comparison to the Chinese WeChat. Personally, I think copying TikTok's algorithm-based operating model is ruining Instagram and YouTube. I haven't seen my friends' Instagram pictures in a million years, but I see ads and random cat videos all day, every day. But now I see why Instagram had to be reinvented, and that's to suck up America's soon-to-be stranded TikTok user base. In the end, even if Instagram and YouTube are the obvious alternatives to TikTok, having copied TikTok's whole thing, every social media app that's shaken up the world eventually hits a peak point, and then comes something new. That's true. If I had to hedge my bets, I'd say that the natural evolution for apps like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter is to become the so-called super app. That's what Elon hopes. A super app is basically a single app that acts like a Swiss Army knife, allowing you to do just about everything and anything on it, meaning you never really need to leave the app to use a different one. Twitter boss Elon Musk has been pretty vocal about his plans to create the first super app in the US, using Twitter as the basis of the project. Perhaps that's the right time? Here. What if Vine is coming back as part of X? Seems like this guy wants Vine back. While Facebook might be the closest thing to a super app available in the US, it pales in comparison to Chinese WeChat. Apart from acting like a social media app, WeChat lets Chinese users text, call, and even make mobile payments and purchases without leaving the app. And that's just scratching the surface. And that's what Elon wants X to turn out to be. The problem with this app approach, you get it? No need to clap. That's my kind of humor right there. Is that a single app that does everything you need to do on your phone sounds a bit monopolistic. That's true. But not if you ask the same U.S. Congress members who say Apple should allow such apps on the App Store, who are also the same Congress members who are about to ban TikTok. Yeah, they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth. Irony. So good article, but he doesn't think TikTok's going away. I think TikTok will end up winning in court, and so I don't think they're going away either. So just my opinion. Annette's here. Glad to have you here, Annette. Pretty much got all our regulars going here. Pretty good. Very glad you're here. And let's get out of the TikTok story and nothing else new in the comments. And no Will or anybody else came in. So we'll go on to our third story. OpenAI and Reddit bringing ChatGPT to Reddit users. So first, I'm going to tell you about Reddit. Then I've got an Android story, and then I'm going to tell you how Apple and OpenAI have their deal going. So everybody's trying to make a deal to get ChatGPT, I guess. So this was on CNET. OpenAI's new Reddit deal means real-time data for you ChatGPT users. Meanwhile, Reddit says it will bring AI-powered features to Redditors. Keep in mind, they'll be collecting your data as part of their large language model. That's all they want, is to get a hold of everybody's data so they can increase their large language model. But, it's like a win-win. I guess that's how it's perceived anyway. So this was by Lisa Lacey, and this was yesterday. So let's drop it into read a view. Get rid of some of these ads. Okay, AI startup. They're still calling it a startup, like it's one of the most successful companies in the world already. AI startup OpenAI has a new data source, social media platform Reddit. In a partnership announced Thursday, Reddit says it's opening its doors to OpenAI so tools like ChatGPT and unspecified new products can better understand Reddit content, as well as to help new and existing Redditors engage with its 100,000 plus communities or subreddits, the platform wrote in a blog post. It's good news for ChatGPT users who want more timely content and awareness of current events. Right now, the company's ChatGPT 4 offering, which costs $20 a month, knows things only up to August 2023. And ChatGPT 3.5 goes only to September 2021. That I knew. And it's good for those of us who want to understand the sources that chatbots draw from, which they draw from these large language models. To date, what exactly chatbots have been trained on, that is how they learn about words and how we use them, has been a bit contentious and not always there, because some people don't like the fact that they're going on their platforms and gathering this data to teach these large language models, and in some cases without permission. Now, of course, since Reddit and OpenAI have made a deal, that won't be an issue here. OpenAI says its large language models have been trained on information that's publicly available on the internet, as well as information it licenses from third parties and information from its users and trainers. Not everyone's been happy about that. That's what I was saying. Both OpenAI and Microsoft, which backs OpenAI financially and which has its own AI chatbot, was sued in April by 8 newspapers, including the New York Daily News, Chicago Tribune, and the Orlando Sentinel, for allegedly using their news content to train chatbots without permission. And that's true. These newspapers feel like if you're going to use our news content, you should be paying us. And I kind of agree with them. It's not always easy to tell what's behind the curtain. A subreddit from August questioned whether ChatGPT was trained on Reddit data. So I guess they're saying they might have been using Reddit data even before this deal. After this, it shouldn't be a problem. Now it's official. OpenAI will access Reddit's data API, which provides real-time content from the social platform. This will benefit OpenAI when it comes to more recent topics, the post said. Sure. We are thrilled to partner with Reddit and to enhance ChatGPT with unique, timely, and relevant information, OpenAI Chief Operation Officer Brad Lightcap said in a statement. In turn, Reddit said it will bring AI-powered features to Redditors and build on OpenAI's platform to bring its powerful vision to life and improve the user experience. But neither Reddit nor OpenAI specified what that means. Yeah, that's a very vague term, bringing the powerful vision to life. In its blog post, Reddit said it wants to foster an open internet, which I guess means giving access to ChatGPT, which means making the platform accessible to players like OpenAI. That's what I said, which are fostering human learning and researching ways to build community, belonging, and empowerment online. Earlier this week, OpenAI announced its latest flagship model, GPT-4o, which, among other things, is designed to make ChatGPT more conversational. That's always what it's about. Google, meanwhile, at its I/O Developer Conference, showed off a wide array of its own AI chatbot advances. Yes, they did. As a result of the partnership, OpenAI will also become a Reddit advertiser. A nearly identical blog post from OpenAI noted that Sam Altman is a Reddit shareholder. So the chair of OpenAI is also a shareholder in Reddit. So he benefits both ways. And that the deal was led by Lightcap and approved by OpenAI's board of directors. So everybody wants a piece of ChatGPT, as near as I can tell. All right, nothing new in the comments. So on to the next story. And as usual, since I'm by myself, it's going to be a fairly short night, folks, and that's okay. All right, this one I found on Tom's Guide, and I just thought it was nice for us to know some of the things that are coming in Android 15. 7 new features coming in Android 15. So back to Tom's Guide. Android 15, 7 best features just announced at Google I/O. This was by Tom Pritchard 2 days ago. Android 15 is getting some big updates, and here are 7 of the best. And some of these do seem pretty cool. All right, interreader view. Google hasn't spent much time talking about Android 15 on Google I/O. They didn't spend any time talking about it 2024, but it's still on the way. Android 15 Beta 2 has just launched, and the final release is scheduled to arrive sometime later this year, likely late summer or just before the Pixel 9 launch in October. Oh, and by the way, I told you guys when they announced the Pixel 8a last week, that I would have to decide. Maybe I'd wait till the Pixel 9 came out, and then I'd decide whether I'd get the 8a or the 9. Well, Amazon had a good deal, and Google's trade-in was kind of okay, but Best Buy really came up with a good trade-in deal, so I went ahead and got it. I got it pretty cheap, and I got a text today that mine is ready, and I'll be picking it up from Best Buy tomorrow, and I'll be trading in my Pixel 7. So I don't know why. I've never been crazy about my Pixel 7, so hopefully that will change. But by tomorrow evening, I should have my Pixel 8a, so just wanted you guys to be aware of it. Okay. Android as a whole is placing some bets on AI. Yes, they are. With Google announcing upgrades to Google Gemini, boy, didn't they, revealing Project Astra object recognition, real-time scam alerts, new ways to generate content, and more. But there are still a bunch more features coming to Android 15 and the rest of the ecosystem. Here are the 7 best new Android features announced at Google I/O 2024. Private space. Google's made it a lot easier to hide sensitive, this one sounds pretty cool, to hide sensitive files and images on your phone in recent years. And now things are going a step further with private space, a vault for sensitive apps you'd rather keep hidden and safe from any prying eyes. While some Android phones have offered features like it before, this is the first time Android has let you hide and secure apps on a system level. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Private space doesn't hide your apps away, though. It sounds more like a partition, locking your sensitive apps and any relevant data behind an extra layer of authentication. So when those apps are locked away, all the associated media and notifications will be switched off and isolated. So they tie it together nicely. So I guess if you want to keep it private, you just have that extra authentication and you should be good to go and nobody can see it but you. So I think that's kind of cool. Next one is theft detection lock. Phone thieves are the bane of modern existence. Well, one of them at least. We keep our whole lives on our phones, and losing it to an opportunistic mugger can mean putting your personal and financial information at risk. Keeping your phone locked to add some security, but that doesn't help if somebody snatches your phone as you're using it. That's true. Theft detection lock uses Google AI to detect when a phone has been snatched away from you and if someone attempts to get away with it. If this is detected, your phone immediately locks down and helps keep that data more secure until you can get online and erase its contents. So I'm sure there's bound to be some false alarms, though, just like every once in a while, Apple thinks I've hurt myself when I'm riding the bike because I go off a curb with the bikes. I'm guessing there's going to be some false alarms here too, but it still sounds like a good idea. Upgrade. Oh no, that's just an ad for them. All right, so that one was theft detection lock. Next one, real-time fraud protection. The keynote address at Google I/O saw the announcement of a new feature designed to protect users from scam phone calls, but it's not the only scam prevention tool coming to Android. Google Play Protect will leverage your phone's on-device AI to detect apps that might be involved in fraud or phishing attempts in real time. That sounds very interesting. The idea here is that the threat detection tool can monitor and analyze how apps use sensitive permissions and interact with other apps. If something looks wrong, I wonder how they'll determine that. That's interesting. Google Play Protect will disable the app, warn affected users, and send the app itself to Google for review. I hope they ask me before they do that. Since this is done on device, it means Google can do all this without collecting or transmitting your personal data. That's good, but I don't want them sending my app to Google until they ask me. That's just me. Now this one I'm not positive. I somewhat understand. You got to read this one to understand it. Add passes. Okay, so you can add passes to Google Wallet from a photo. Google Wallet is great for storing credit cards as well as other digital-based passes and loyalty card information that are supported. As for everything else, they've had to stay in your actual wallet, but not for long. Yeah, this one sounds like to me like the one people will use the most. Android users in the US will be able to create and store digital versions of real-world passes in Google Wallet. Examples include event tickets, library cards, auto insurance cards, gym memberships, and more. So it sounds like almost anything. Just snap a photo in the Google Wallet and app, and it will digitize the whole thing for you when you need it most. That's interesting. Which sure as heck beats photographing everything and keeping it in the decidedly less secure Google Photos. We're just wondering if it will be able to make backups of your passport and other IDs just in case. Well, if it can do all these, you would think it could do that too. Anyway, interesting. I want to see how well this stuff works. That's what I'm interested to find out. Now, of course, we have to wait till we get Android 15 to find out. AR content in Google Maps. This one I didn't really understand that well. Google Maps is getting AR content, and we're not talking about live view directions. The idea is that these new AR experiences are designed to help you learn about places in new and immersive ways. So I guess it's going to give you more information about places, I guess. The idea is that this will be the foundation of the XR platform Google is developing in partnership with Samsung and Qualcomm. I didn't even know they were. Though the specifics of that platform are still unclear, so nobody knows exactly what it means, I think. The first Google Maps AR experiences will launch in Singapore and Paris, so don't know when we'll see it in whichever country you're in, and certainly in the US. Entertainment apps in Android Automotive. Certain cars that run Google's Android Automotive OS will be getting a bunch of entertainment options in the near future. specifically access to Max and Peacock for streaming alongside mobile games like Angry Birds. Like other entertainment apps on Google for Cars, these will only be working if you're parked up and not actually moving. I don't see why he said parked up if you're parked. Google didn't specify which all the cars that would get these apps, but did confirm that the Nissan Rogue, it should be Rogue, I drive one almost every day at work, Renault R5, Acura, ZDX, and Ford Explorer with Google built in would be among them. However, Rivian owners and eventually other Android automotive cars will be getting support for Google Cast, letting you watch content from your devices on the car's infotainment screen. And I think this is the last one. AI recommendations in Google TV. Finally, if you're always struggling to find something to watch, Google TV is going to leverage AI and Google Gemini to help you find something worth watching in the sea of streaming content. It's going to have to know you pretty well to do this. Gemini will generate descriptions of shows and movies on your home screen, all of which have been picked based on your personal taste, including what genres and actors you like. Plus, Google TV will fill in any sections or descriptions that haven't been translated. That's cool. Which will be a great help for those of you that like foreign movies or get super frustrated when English language movies decide you don't deserve subtitles in foreign language scenes. So, those are 7 pretty useful apps coming to Android 15. For most of us, that's going to wait till September, but I just thought it was interesting to see what's coming and what might be helpful. All right, drop out of this. Nothing new in the comments. Like I say, folks, I always try to find what I think was just interesting articles that might interest all of us. So we've already talked about OpenAI and Reddit. Now it's time to talk about OpenAI and Apple. Apple and OpenAI deal might use ChatGPT to take Siri to new heights. And this was on Phonerin. And we've told you in a couple of articles in the last couple of months that Siri's probably going to be getting better because of AI. Well, I guess this is one of the first ways it tends to do this. Although this was published 6 days ago, and I think the deal was not absolutely final yet, but it sounds like they expect it to be. So this was on Phone Arena. Apple and OpenAI close to a deal that will put ChatGPT on the iPhone by Alan Freeman. Now, this is, of course, coming up in iOS 18, I believe. So let's go into review. Bloomberg chief correspondent Mark Gurman is reporting that Apple is close to finalizing a deal with OpenAI that would add AI chatbot ChatGPT to the iPhone through iOS 18. On Friday, Gurman posted a tweet that read, Apple is finalizing a deal with OpenAI to power some generative AI features like a chatbot for the new iOS this year. Talks with Google to integrate Gemini are ongoing, but no deal has been reached. According to Gurman, who is as close to being an insider at Apple as any member of the media, he's almost always right about anything he predicts, the deal between Apple and OpenAI will allow the use of some ChatGPT features in iOS 18. Exactly what those features are, we do not know, but as we've been telling you over the last couple of weeks, certain iOS apps like Safari and Messages could end up with a summarization feature that will use keywords to deliver a concise summary about content on the screen. And here's an example. So if you say, write an email to request a quote from local plumbers for backflow testing. I need it done in the next 2 weeks. Keep it short and casual. So I guess ChatGPT actually came up with this. Hi, plumber's name. I hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out because I'm in need of backflow testing for my property, and I've heard great things about your services. Could you please provide me with a quote for the testing. I would appreciate it if you could be done in the next 2 weeks. Look forward to hearing back from you. So I think ChatGPT came up with that all on its own based on what was asked. So pretty good. Apple is reportedly looking to give Siri an AI makeover. Yeah, we've heard that over and over. That will make the virtual digital assistant more knowledgeable. It needs help. At the same time, OpenAI is believed to be working on its own virtual digital assistant, and it isn't known whether OpenAI's development of a virtual digital assistant of its own will lead to new features for tools for Siri, or whether OpenAI considers its assistant to be a Siri competitor. And if this all wasn't enough, Apple is reportedly still in talks with Google about bringing the latter's Gemini generative AI features to Apple devices. So far, there are no reports of an agreement between Apple and Google. With the Google I/O Developer Congress, this, of course, was before the conference took place the other day. This coming Tuesday, we could hear more about the rumor talks between Google and Apple. I don't remember them talking about it, but of course, I could forget. As far as Apple is concerned, on June 10th, the company will kick off its WWDC Developer Conference. And during the keynote, Apple is expected to preview its AI initiative for iOS 18. Yeah, I think with all the pressure from everybody else pulling in their AI, I think pretty much Apple has to include it now. So everybody wants a piece of ChatGPT. Okay, nothing new in the comments. So on to our next story. This one was interesting. Google and others locking authors, these are the authors, out of their own content. And it's on something called Pune Pulse. I had never seen that site before, but it's a good article. Author locked out of Google Docs over inappropriate content sparks concerns over online control. Trouble is, they never explained to her what inappropriate content was. So, I should tell you who just says Pune Pulse. I don't know that it tells me who wrote it. No, I don't see an author's name. All right, so this was, again, 6 days ago. Just thought this was very interesting and somewhat unnerving. In a digital age where creativity often finds its home in the cloud, American writer Kay Renee found herself abruptly disconnected from her creative world. Now, keep in mind, this was her own content. Key points. Kay Renee, an American author, was denied access to her Google Drive account. Google labeled her content as inappropriate, causing concerns about the fairness of Google's content moderation practices. And what sounds weird about that, if Google let her put this stuff on her Google Drive, why all of a sudden would they decide now you can't have access to it because it's in? That doesn't make sense to me. The incident emphasizes the vulnerability of creators in the digital age. On an ordinary evening while watching a hockey game with her husband, Renee received a jolting notification on her phone. You no longer have permission to view this document, even though it was her own document. It was a message from Google Drive signaling an unexpected lockout from her own literary works stored on the platform as reported. I hope she has the stuff backed up somewhere else. I mean, this woman writes books. For Renee, known for her hockey romance novels, this sudden turn of events was more than just an inconvenience. It was a crisis. Yeah, I guess so. The notification indicated that her entire collection of works in progress, totaling over 222,000 words spread across multiple files and folders, had become inaccessible across her devices. So it sounds like she was working on a book and she just had it in bits and pieces and they just locked her out. Adding to her frustration was the lack of clarity from Google, which labeled her content as inappropriate without specifying the offending material. And Google does this kind of stuff a lot. Pardon me while I sip. So they tell people they're locking them out for a problem, but they don't tell them what the problem is. Renee's writing style, often characterized as open door spice, so I guess you write spicy novels about hockey romances, is celebrated for its explicit content, a hallmark of the romance genre she specializes in. However, the abrupt labeling of her work as inappropriate left her baffled and anxious. Yeah, like I said, why would you let her put it out there in the first place then? That doesn't make sense. Was her writing flagged due to its adult themes, or was there a deeper issue at play? As Renee attempted to regain access to her documents, she encountered further obstacles. Despite her efforts to reshare the files, she received a disheartening message: can't share items. So she couldn't even share her own documents. The opacity in Google's moderation process left Renee and her community of alpha and beta readers in a state of uncertainty. So she has alpha and beta readers. So I guess when she's writing a book, these people, do like proofreading with her. Renee's ordeal struck a chord with fellow authors who shared similar experiences of being locked out of their creative works without warning. Through writers' Slack channels and social media platforms like Instagram, a collective sense of concern emerged over the implications of automated content moderation on artistic freedom. So that's why I said Google and others, because now this one had the same thing happen on Instagram. The issue, it seemed, extended beyond explicit content alone. One writer shared a parallel experience on Instagram, revealing that their content was mistakenly flagged as spam due to repeated sharing with alpha and beta readers, a common practice among authors seeking feedback. Yeah, so if you have certain people that proofread for you and you give them samples to get ideas back, they have to have access. So that makes perfect sense. As platforms like Google Drive increasingly shape the parameters of online discourse, writers like Renee find themselves navigating uncharted territory where algorithms wield significant power over artistic autonomy. So it's like, okay, the robots are taking over. It's kind of what it sounds like. The intersection of technology and creativity is not new, but the stakes have never been higher. Yeah, you're affecting this woman's making money entirely. Recent incidents of online content moderation mishaps highlight the challenges faced by creators in an era dominated by tech giants. From social media platforms to cloud storage services, the boundaries of acceptable content often blur, leading to unintended consequences for artists and writers. Renee's experience serves as a microcosm of a broader debate over digital rights and online censorship. I would say make sure you have this stuff somewhere else. The arbitrary labeling of her work as inappropriate raises critical questions about transparency and accountability in content moderation. Who determines what constitutes acceptable content? That's right. And how do automated systems impact creative expression? For Renee, whose writing delves into themes of identity and belonging, the incident carries profound implications. As a disabled writer, so she's disabled also, she relies on digital platforms not just for creative expression, but also for everyday organization and communication. It makes sense. As of now, get this, Google Tech Support has not provided any assistance to the author, leaving her stranded in a digital limbo, grappling with questions of creative freedom and control. So, poor woman can't even get access to her own creative stuff. That's really terrible, I think. So I just thought it was an interesting story and one that people ought to know. So it's not just Google, it's also Instagram. Who knows who else? So that to me was the most interesting story of the night. And nothing else new. So this, I just drew this in because I saw this when I was creating my, picking out my articles last night. And of course, last week I started with Apple's crushed little ad that they had put out, and then they apologized for, which crushed everything. And all you had left was an iPad. The implication being that the iPad has everything, all the creative stuff that they crushed. So Samsung, I guess, could not resist answering. I just said, Samsung, creativity cannot be crushed. And that's Samsung's point. This was on The Verge. This will just take a minute. Samsung mocks Apple's crushing iPad Pro with a Pro ad with its own uncrushed pitch. And Samsung loves to make fun of Apple's ads, you know that. A guitar and a Galaxy Tab S9 probably won't pull anyone away from Logic Pro, but it's the thought that counts, right? Now, what I'll do, guys, you're not going to be able to hear this, but trust me, as a musician myself for over 50 years and singer, you're not missing anything. She's just humming, trying to, I guess, give herself ideas, but it's cute the way they answered Apple's ad. Through all this crushed stuff, grabs the guitar, and she just kind of starts fiddling with it and making music. And the point is what Samsung says at the end. So she's just humming stuff. That's it. Creativity cannot. Just thought that was cute. That was Samsung's answer to Apple's crush ad that they apologized for and pulled. So I'm not even going to read it. I just thought it was, Samsung being Samsung. So that's all I've got for tonight, folks. Now, one thing I realize I'm not doing, I figured I better start doing it because I always kind of get out of here pretty fast. After all my stories, I always have this, and I just say open discussion, but I never give you guys a chance for any open discussion. So I'm actually going to make sure there's a little bit of a minute or so that you guys, if you want to say something in the comments, just go ahead and say it now, and we can start a discussion if you would like. But I realized you can't put open discussion on the webpage unless you're willing to have an open discussion. So sorry about that previously. And from now on, I'll just give you a minute at the very end here to see if anybody has anything that they want to say, anything they want to type in or make a point of in any of the articles or anything else. Of course, if you have any suggestions for me, that's fine also. So meanwhile, keep in mind, I'll be picking up my Pixel 8a probably tomorrow sometime. And I'll have some kind of, I guess, quick unboxing up by Sunday night, I would think. So I know Tudia is sending me some cases. So just letting me know about that today. So at least we'll have some case videos. And I'll just be careful with it until then. So, all right, I guess there's nothing new to be said in the comments. So that's it for me tonight, folks. I'll try to remember always give it a minute at the end like I did tonight. So I hope everybody has a very, very blessed weekend. Glad for those of you that came in. Always glad to have my regulars here. Brian, Will came and went, but I'm sure Will has to go to sleep. He works all week. Then he sleeps one night, and then he works, I think, 48 hours straight on the weekend on a different job. So we had Brian, Will came in, Eleanor came in, Don came in, and Annette came in. And thank you all very much. I so much appreciate you all. You guys are very faithful, and I appreciate it. So have a blessed weekend, and let's always remember we all do better when we love each other.